added by Mayor Johnson. You should find at your seat, tree preservation, ordinance one sheet, sort of summarizing, my idea to bring tree preservation to the city of Kyle. We currently do not have a tree preservation ordinance. We do have a landscaping ordinance that does require a certain percentage of trees and bushes, although those trees can be newly planted trees. There's nothing right now preventing new developers from coming in and raising an area of all its trees, no matter if they've been there for 5 years or 50 years. And that's something that concerns me. Besides just having a soft spot for old trees, and we do have a significant number of old growth live oak trees here in Kyle. The city of Kyle itself is not a tremendously forested city, but on our west side especially, we do have some old growth trees that I would like to try us just take the first steps to protect. Of course, we all know that trees add value to property. They help clean the air. They put people in a better mood. They provide shade. People like to live in neighborhoods with trees. That's the first thing that developers do after they build a house, they put in a new tree. And then if you live in Plum Creek, that tree will usually die within the first year, and then you pay for the replacement of a new tree. And then if you're lucky, that tree will last anywhere from 3 to 5 years. But trees we're known for our auction oak and the hanging tree in Kyle. So we have famous trees around here, but those trees certainly are protected where they are. But we have other trees that are almost as old that are not protected whatsoever. I sort of started researching this, looking at what other surrounding cities do. I sort of gave a summary, sort of a snapshot of what Austin and San Antonio do. Austin has different rules for single-family residential properties versus commercial properties. If you're a single property residential, permit is required for the removal of any tree over 60 inches in circumference, which is like 19 inches in diameter, which is really big. And in multifamily and commercial, they have to do a survey of all the trees on the property that are 8 inches in diameter or thicker. And that gets really strict. They're supposed to show that they were able to save as many trees as possible is the extent of the development. It's really hard to cut down trees in Austin, I learned. San Antonio is slightly different. They sort of do a percentage requirement. If your tree is classified as being of a significant diameter, which depending on the type of tree, and they organize it by type of tree, could be anywhere from 5 to 10 inches in diameter, then you have to say, depending on your zoning, you have to save a certain percentage of those trees from destruction. And then they have their very old trees, they call their heritage trees, which vary in diameter from 12 to 24 inches. And those, they have to preserve 100% of those trees on the property unless they come back for a variance. What I would be suggesting is that we look at a simpler ordinance that might not necessarily have a different diameter requirement for, say, each different species of tree there is, like San Antonio, but that we direct staff to look into what would be a good overall diameter requirement. That if you have trees that are of a certain diameter, maybe in our case 12 inches, that developers simply have to come and get a permit from council or staff before removing the tree. And that way we put some buffer between the developer cutting down a tree. They have to come to us and we have to, we'll be able to look and see what they're doing. Do I have any comments? Thank you, Councilmember Wilson.
Yes, you do have a comment. I support this. I think right off the top, though, I'm looking at the proposed creekside development I mean, man, they have a lot of, big oaks on that property, and there's other properties around that, you know, are in the works and that have some major trees. So,
I've also looked at possible ways that you could write it in like sort of an incentive package into this so that you're not overly hurting developers or you're not, you know, strong arming them. You could do things like if you had a wooded area that could be your, sort of your designated, park donation instead of, you know, instead of picking up land, we could just go ahead and call that your park designation if you have a wooded area. We could also possibly work out a way where if we started to save a significant amount of like old growth trees, we could work out a plan, for the maintenance of those trees to possibly be done by the city at some point. There's ways to incentivize this to make it, you know, pro-development. And I think just
Yeah.
having a simple proposal to start out with, just a permit process, not requiring a variance to cut down trees, but just requiring them to come and get a permit, I think would be a really excellent start. Councilmember Rivera.
Thank you. And I'm going to personally speak, on this. One is because, I mean, I agree, I would love to preserve the oak trees, they are so beautiful. And the land that we own downtown, back in the 1800s, we have several oak trees where the train would stop and would drop the cows off and they would auction the cows in that area. So, and we do have big oak trees, but also, it's just kind of complicated because I think it's up to the owner to whether or not, you know, they wanna get rid of the